Today we have the distinct honor of welcoming the esteemed chairperson of RPSG Lifestyle Media, Avarna Jain. As the Hollywood Reporter embarks on an exciting journey into the vibrant Indian market, our guest brings with them a wealth of insight into the dynamic world of entertainment. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Avarna as we delve into the intersection of Hollywood and Indian cinema, exploring the transformative impact on audiences and the evolving landscape of entertainment in India. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Mugdha. Thank you very much.
Firstly, many congratulations. The Hollywood Reporter is set to enter the Indian market for the very first time in over 100 years, I think.
Absolutely right. It's more than a 90-year-old iconic publication, and finally it's entering the Indian market.
So let me just begin by asking you, what prompted the Hollywood Reporter to enter the Indian market?
So, in India today, there is a wealth of this huge repertoire of Indian entertainment. And the Indian entertainment industry, to some extent, is fragmented. You have Bollywood, you have something in the south, you have something with Tamil, Telugu, Bhojpuri, Bengali, Marathi, and many others that I may not be naming right now. And this is not just limited to cinema or films, it's OTT, it's music, it's all kinds of entertainment. And there is no real unifying voice which covers in the Indian entertainment industry as a whole. And while, yes, this is going to be called the Hollywood Reporter, but we also know Hollywood is the genesis of all the different woods across the world. So whether it is Bollywood, whether it is Lollywood, whether it is Tollywood, Hollywood is the genesis of that. So we hope that the Hollywood Reporter India, or THR India as it probably will be known, will create this unifying voice for the Indian entertainment industry.
Wow, this is as people say, like the global, like there's a global citizens concept. So this is now going to become a global platform where all the woods, like you mentioned, are coming together under one roof.
Absolutely. I mean, the Indian entertainment industry is the largest in the world, and Hollywood, as we know it, is probably the oldest in the world. So it's only fair that the oldest industry or the oldest publication celebrates the largest industry in the world.
That's so nicely put. I also wanted to ask you, now that the Hollywood Reporter is entering the Indian market, what would you say is the USP of the Hollywood Reporter India?
So the USP of the Hollywood Reporter India would be, I think, is the fact that, it will work alongside filmmakers, producers, actors, and also present content for its consumers. So it is not just by the industry, for the industry, but it is also something that will keep the users or the consumers entertained as we go along.
Right.
The Hollywood Reporter actually will, celebrate and support the Indian entertainment industry while providing very credible and in-depth information about the industry.
Exactly my next question to you. I wanted to ask, how does the Hollywood Reporter plan to differentiate itself from the existing publications in Indian entertainment industry?
So if you look at the existing publications in the Indian entertainment industry, most of them are catering solely to cinema, and not just solely to cinema as a whole in India, but mainly to Bollywood. If you look at the Indian entertainment industry today, if you look back even at the Oscars or anything else, today, how does anyone decide who is more important? Is it Amitabh Bachchan? Is it Lata Mangeshkar? Is it Rajamouli? Or who is it? Right. So does popularity define that? Does collections define it? What defines it? So we hope that the Hollywood Reporter actually will create this sort of awareness that the Indian entertainment industry is much larger than it is currently perceived to be. There is much more to it. There are more nuances, there are more elements, there are more parts. And today, as citizens of India and of course the world move towards becoming global citizens, where language is not an issue, culture is not an issue, everything you transgress across language barriers and things like that. Even entertainment types. You know, people are not just smitten by the silver screen today. You see all these big silver screen actors today descending upon what we call OTT platforms. You know, so when you see these big screen actors coming on OTT and vice versa, you realize that these divides are actually dissolving. And it's time for a publication to enter the industry and create a voice for this unified industry.
You know, I also am very curious to know that, this decision to enter the Indian market. Now, was this prompted on the basis of how Hollywood cinema has sort of influenced the Indian audience? Because, the last year and even before that, there have been these Bond series, the Mission Impossible series. Last year there was Oppenheimer and Barbie, which were huge successes in India. So, is the sort of, the Indian audience's interest in Hollywood cinema that has prompted this decision?
You know, see, Hollywood is a hugely successful film industry. It entertains the world, including India. The Indian film industry, however, today is actually larger than Hollywood. It has an identity that is so unique that even we, as the Indian audience, is not being able to understand it fully and grasp the extent of it. You know, we have blockbusters like Rocky and Rani Ki Prem Kahani. At the same time, you have an RRR. At the same time, you have a Delhi Crime. At the same time, you have a Kyunki Saas that has run for 20 years plus, or Anupama that is topping the rankings at this point. So you have all kinds of entertainment coming through in the Indian industry, which makes it so much larger and vaster and important for people outside of India to understand. So, yes, Hollywood does influence the way we consume entertainment to some extent, but I think the reverse is happening as well. I think the way we consume
Absolutely,
entertainment in India is
absolutely.
influencing the way it's consumed across the world.
Absolutely, and I agree that nowadays there's more consumption of Indian content abroad than it was before, and it is also because of the access, the availability, and the access that OTT platforms have sort of made easy. Would you agree on that?
100%. I think, today audiences in India itself are watching whether it's a Korean show or a Turkish show or an American soap. It doesn't matter what. It is just about great content, great entertainment that serves the need of the hour for that particular consumer. So if I want an outright comedy, it could be something from the American banks. If I want drama, it could be a Korean drama. So it doesn't really matter where I'm consuming it from.
Totally, totally. Also, a little bit about, if you can outline sort of the editorial strategy of the Indian edition of the Hollywood Reporter, any specific areas that you're going to focus on or themes that you would want to explore?
So, the audiences that consume this kind of media today have changed drastically from the last few decades. As I mentioned earlier, we're consuming content from different languages in different formats. We're consuming content that's not even from our own country, it's from outside of our country. Within India itself, movies from different regions now are seeing huge theatrical releases, which may not have been as common in the past, or maybe may not have been as commonly reported in the past, even if they did happen. South Indian cinema is being celebrated in the north, Punjabi music is groovy in the
Yes.
south. There's curiosity about movies from Bengal. There's something about Marathi cinema that's suddenly coming into the fore, something from the northeast that's growing. So THR India's strategy is very, very clear. It will look at the entertainment industry as a whole. It will celebrate whether it is a Bollywood blockbuster, whether it is Bhojpuri cinema, whether it is a Malayalam story, whether it is something on OTT. It will celebrate the entertainment industry as a whole.
And in what format and in what ways can the Indian audience, the Indian readers, access content from the Hollywood Reporter India?
So at RPSG Lifestyle Media, all our titles are going to be digital first, and the Hollywood Reporter will not be an exception to that. However, we will have a monthly print edition, but we do know that the correct or the current way to communicate with our consumer is via digital media, using social as an important distribution platform. So THR India will have a very, very active presence across all these platforms, specifically digital. You will have content to read, to watch, and to experience. Also, AI is developing very rapidly every day, and we are watching it very
Yes.
closely. But we are committed to providing very, very high quality content to our readers, irrespective of the platform that they choose to consume it on.
Absolutely the question that I was coming to. How do you envision the future relationship between Hollywood and Indian cinema evolving, considering, the ongoing changes in technology and the audience behavior?
So, if you see, as I mentioned earlier, the Indian industry, Indian entertainment industry is growing so exponentially. It's become so influential
Yes.
in many ways, whether you look at, even if you look at international award shows, you look at the Oscars, you look at the Grammys, suddenly Indian presence is is being felt in a very, very significant manner. So the collaboration between international cinema, whether it is Hollywood or anything else, and Indian cinema will only increase as we go along, not just because Indian presence is increasing across the world, but also because of these dissolving of language borders and consumption patterns as they change. So we will see growing collaboration as we go along.
When you talk about collaborations, can you give us an insight into what kind of collaborations are you talking about?
So, as you have seen in the past, there have been some crossovers where Hollywood personalities have come and performed in Indian cinema, or a few Indian stalwarts have gone and performed in Hollywood cinema.
Yes.
I think this is actually going to continue and grow in bigger and larger fashions. And we probably see a more cohesive manner in which these collaborations will take place.
So you're saying that there will be, of course, localization of content. Indian celebrities will be prominently featured, and it's going to be a vice versa process.
It's always been like that. If you look back at cinema, in the Indian cinema, you will always see there will be somebody from the Hollywood industry that has featured or vice versa. So it's not something new. It's probably just going to increase because, as we mentioned, language borders are reducing, they're
Yes.
dissolving. So consumption will happen across different countries and not limited just to your own uh, geographical location.
Also, coming to the question of the role that Hollywood Reporter India will play in sort of shaping the discourse around Indian and global entertainment in the Indian market. What role do you envision the Hollywood Reporter India playing?
So, THR India will be the first real unified voice of the Indian entertainment industry. It will present to audiences their favorite films, their favorite stars from across all of India as equals. The size of the industry won't matter. It will be the talent and the connection it forms with the audiences that will matter. So whether a star hails from the south or the north or the east or the west or the middle of India, it will not really matter. It will just be the connection that that star forms with the audience. To the world, THR India will provide a showcase of the sheer variety, the sheer vastness and the sheer depth of Indian cinema and the Indian entertainment industry. And it will show the world why the largest entertainment industry in the world deserves to be celebrated.
Also, the Hollywood Reporter has been this big and prominent, entertainment sort of publication that has always been there, has sort of dominated the industry. But when you enter the Indian market now, what unique challenges are you anticipating in terms of, and how is the content going to be different in terms of the already established players?
So, as I mentioned, the existing players to some extent cover only certain segments of the entertainment industry. So, some of the publications that exist will only cover Bollywood. There are other publications in
Yes.
regional languages that only cover those regional languages. However, what we intend to do is create something that has a more overarching impact that covers the industry as a whole versus um, as a fragmented industry that does not look at entertainment as a whole. So today, when I'm saying the Indian consumer is viewing a Korean drama, they're not really viewing it in English or Hindi or their regional language. They are viewing it in Korean, but it is entertaining them just as much as any other entertainment show would. So with this whole thing dissolving, I think it's very important for us to understand that the Indian consumer is changing. And because of that, the Hollywood Reporter India will play a very, very important role in providing this unified voice for the Indian entertainment industry.
Are there any challenges or opportunities that arise from the growing intersection between Hollywood and the Indian cinema, particularly in terms of content creation and content consumption?
I don't think there are challenges. I think there will be many more opportunities that will come our way. I think the collaborations that are possible will actually create huge, huge, huge opportunities, which may not have existed in the past, whether it was because of, newer channels of communication not existing, or travel not being as easy, or consumption not being as smooth and, without any glitches. So I think just the scope of collaboration increases so much, so that makes the opportunities infinite.
How do you think moving forward, Indian cinema is going to influence the world of global entertainment?
With the Indian population being so large, with the Indian entertainment industry actually being the largest in the world, it is but natural that Indian entertainment will influence the world in many, many ways. Whether it will influence it uh, with the nuances of the Indian culture, whether it will influence it with the developments in AI, whether it will influence it in developments in video effects. These are to be seen, but there is no doubt that the Indian entertainment industry will and is influencing the global entertainment market.
Do you think of late there is more acceptance in terms of consuming the culture, the nuances, the stories, the rooted stories about Indian culture, like a Kantara, like an RRR, that has been massively accepted abroad?
I think there is a definite shift, and the definite shift is visible simply because of a simple acceptance of Indians and Indian culture abroad or internationally. If you look at 20, 30, 40 years ago, the way Indians were perceived is very different from the way an Indian is perceived today.
Yes.
The way Indian culture was perceived is very different from the way Indian culture is perceived today. And the Indian entertainment industry is nothing but a reflection of India today. It is nothing but a reflection of what Indian society holds as its place in the world today. And the Indian entertainment industry is no different. It is claiming its rightful place in the global entertainment industry, just the way India is claiming its place in the global scenario today.
Absolutely, and I hope that there's a lot more representation of Indian cinema. We just created history with Zakir Hussain, winning 3 awards in a night. Shankar Mahadevan won his first Grammy this year. So a lot of Indians, going on global platform representing. How do you feel, as part of the entertainment industry, when you hear these achievements in the field of entertainment? How does this feel?
I think it's a very proud moment for every Indian when you see Indians claiming their rightful position across the globe, whether it is at the Oscars, whether it is at the Grammys, or whether it is at the Olympics. It doesn't matter where we are, but we are claiming our rightful position in the world, and it's high time the world takes notice of it.
Absolutely. And my very last question to you, Avarna ma'am, is that, what are your long-term goals and expectations from the Hollywood Reporter's presence in the Indian market?
I think the Indian entertainment industry, whether it's Bollywood, Hollywood, Lollywood, OTT, currently lacks an authoritative voice, a journal or a publication that gives absolutely, in-depth knowledge, researched data, and at the same time gives information about the industry to its target audience. So the Hollywood Reporter will actually give you slightly more nuanced information about every aspect of the entertainment industry.
That is amazing. We're looking forward to it. And again, many congratulations to you and the
Thank you
entire
so
team.
much.
We're absolutely looking forward to this.